please welcome to the stage my good friend and soon to be yours, Lincoln Arneal with Meet Lincoln. It's a pleasure.
Hello, thank you. It's an honor to be here at Ignite Lincoln 11. I'd like to acknowledge it took me a full decade to get up here because I was convinced that this whole thing was an event to set me on fire. I was promised it wasn't, but just in case, Charlie's in the back with a bucket of water. Let's get some basic details out of the way. No, I was not born here. You can call me Abe if you want, but don't get too cute and call me Omaha or Humphrey or Bellevue or something like that. Listen, if anyone's going to make bad name-based jokes, it's going to be me. First, I want to clarify that I'm not named for the city. My mother, who was an Air Force brat, picked the name out from a poem she read in the 8th grade by Rosemary Benet. The poem, entitled Nancy Hanks, is written from the perspective of Abraham Lincoln's deceased mother wondering what became of her son. It's a poem about motherhood and love. Long before she met a farmer from Nebraska at the Great Lakes Naval Base, my mother wanted a son named Lincoln. My dad was a little hesitant because the only Lincoln he knew was from the character from the TV show The Mod Squad. As the third child, my mother eventually won out. My siblings have normal names that don't have a brother named Jefferson or Topeka, or sisters named Kennedy or Beatrice. Nope, just Nathan, Karen, and Whitney. Apparently, presidential names were quite popular in my hometown of North Bend. Zachary Taylor was a grade ahead of me at school. Andrew Johnson followed Lincoln in the high school class rankings. Fortunately, there wasn't a John Booth in my class, so I finished my 4-year high school term as the valedictorian. Speaking of presidents, while working at the University of Texas, I met a basketball coach named George Washington. When I first introduced myself, he gave me a puzzled look. Luckily, a coworker was following the interaction and quickly verified that I was named Lincoln and I was not mocking him. I was just being honest. I faced several challenges growing up named Lincoln. I never found a personalized souvenir with my name on it. I put up with way too many jokes about being honest and asking where my stovepipe hat was. And I was stuck playing with long wooden blocks in elementary school. However, there were some benefits. I didn't have to think much about who I was going to play during the Cub Scout Presidential Day skit, and I didn't get any personalized pocket knives, but I got a nice gift from Nike. I didn't meet another Lincoln in person until my first weekend of college when I met two. I've met a handful of other adult Lincolns and lots of little Lincolns since then, and there always is an immediate connection. It's like we're part of the same giant family and know the same inside jokes, the Lincoln family. One of the hard parts about being named Lincoln is meeting other people. The most common reaction I get after introducing myself is, "And your name is?" thinking I just told them where I was from. Because of this, I've started to introduce myself as Lincoln from Lincoln or Lincoln from Nebraska if I'm out of state. And let me tell you, that line is a killer at conferences. In my professional life, I've also worked for several newspapers. So when I say, "Hi, I'm Lincoln from the World Herald," people think I don't know the name of the newspaper where I work. After introductions, the curse and or blessing of the Lincoln name doesn't end. The Lincoln is a memorable name, so it sticks with other people. I'd like to think it's my sparkling personality, but really it's the name. Sometimes I don't even have to interact with them for them to remember me. Back in junior high, I qualified for state math counts. 4 years later, I ran into someone who said she remembered my name from math counts. It was because she thought that Lincoln was a parochial high school here in town. Growing up in Nebraska, I would often hear my name in conversations. This can lead to some confusion, as many think I was talking about me, the man, but often it leads to disappointment as they are actually discussing the city. In an episode of the Hidden Brain podcast, they talked about a study where people have a tendency to live in places that have the same names as them. It's why that there's more Georgias who live in Georgia and Virginias who live in Virginia. It's called implicit egotism. So it's science that I should live here. Now that I live in Lincoln, the confusion hasn't lessened. Friends tried to tag me in social media posts about the city, accidentally tag me. In my family, we've differentiated between the two entities by calling this Lincoln Town. It gets even more confusing when my nephews come visit Uncle Lincoln in Lincoln Town in their Lincoln car. Is this trouble worth it? Yes. It's far less confusing to be Lincoln from Lincoln than it was to be Lincoln from Columbus, Lincoln from Austin, or Lincoln from Omaha. I first moved to Lincoln for college. I moved away twice to chase professional opportunities, but each time moved back after a few years. Some might say it's ego that keeps me coming back, but in reality, it's one of the few places that has felt like home. After all, where else can you have a Give to Me Day and a Me Calling music festival and a Celebrate Me event? So thank you for letting me speak at Ignite Lincoln, and also thank you for not being an actual festival dedicated to igniting people named Lincoln on fire. Now, if you excuse me, my time is up.